In spite of the economic situation across the continent of the world, Nigerians continue to thrive in birthing mind-blowing innovations. Today, Carbon Digital Bank, the brainchild of Chijioke and Ngozi Dozie, is one of the fintechs empowering Nigerians with quick loans without collateral. Joining us now on the show is Ngozi Dozie, an investment banker at JP Morgan in New York, a business process risk consultant at Arthur Andersen UK, and a financial analyst at Deloitte & Touche. He holds an MBA from Wharton School and a CFA charter holder. All right, so welcome, good morning. Good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me.
In the studio. Well, first question, tell us about your background and what influenced your decision to start Carbon Bank.
So interestingly, we actually started as a debt collection company. We worked for 5 commercial banks and we found 3 things. One, the banks were very bad at underwriting credit. They were bad at collecting. But most importantly, there was a very high willingness to pay of these debtors who owed money. So we looked at the industry, and at that time, 10 years ago, it was less than 3% of Nigerians had access to credit, only about 200,000 credit cards. And we saw that this was the biggest opportunity that nobody was touching. And so that's how we started.
So, people that don't know about this company and this debt collection company that's obviously evolved into a digital bank, tell us about it, what makes it different, USPs.
Yeah. So Carbon is fundamentally a bank without any branches. So it lives on your mobile phone, which means that you can take it anywhere. Our brand Carbon was picked because, carbon, the element, is found everywhere. It's fundamental to human life, and it's also very versatile. I have carbon as graphite, carbon as diamond.
Yeah.
And so that's what we aim to do. So in terms of our USPs, we are the only one that does a buy now, pay later product, which I hope we'll talk about later, which allows you to spread payments at 0% interest over up to 6 months. You get interest on your savings, double digits. You get interest on your current accounts, which nobody else does right now. And so why we're different is that for us, we are the best value to the customer on every vertical. And that's what we've approached and targeted right from inception.
Okay, that's good to know. But as a business with investors,
Yep.
Tell us how you've been able to protect yourself from credit risks.
Right.
How?
Our fundamental belief is that people are honest, they want to pay, they want an opportunity. And so what we do, a loan is empowering people. And so there was always this conception of Nigerians won't pay, and particularly in our business, we don't meet our customers. You apply on a mobile phone for a loan, and we give it to you within 5 minutes. But fundamentally, we do a high level of data analysis, machine learning on the phone and who you are. We check the credit bureaus, and then we also assess, the information you give us, the transactions that you've made. All this we do within a very short space of time and make a credit risk decision. So there's a lot of data that takes place, even though in a very short space of time.
It's all about the engine and the analytics. But so when you said, okay, we live on your phone and everything, it really interests me. How do you fix issues like KYC? Because I know there are layers of KYC.
Sure.
Know your customer. And for current account, when I hear the current account, I know there are issues of KYC, know your customer.
Right.
Layers and layers of that. How do you fix that? And just simulate for me what happens when I pick up my phone and I want to get Carbon, for instance.
Right.
What happens?
So literally, you pick up the phone, you download the Carbon app, and
Where?
then why?
Where?
Sorry, from the Google Play Store or the Apple Play Store. You will then introduce yourself to us. Here's my name, here's what I do. We then ask you for your BVN for identification. We check the credit bureaus based on the information you've given us, so your date of birth, your name, and that's the KYC done. We can check for passport, driver's license, voter registration, all automated. So there's a lot of, we don't shrimp on the KYC, but it's all automated. We have real-time access to all these databases. And then from there, you can then go on to either apply for a loan, deposit savings, use the current account, apply for a debit card, which you'll get in 3 days. And from there, there's a world of possibilities on the Carbon app.
Okay, great. Okay, so you're one of the banks, fintechs, empowering Nigerians with quick loans.
Right.
How are you dealing with the issue of debtors who don't want to pay without resorting to blackmail like many of the other loan sharks?
So we start with again, from our background, people are fundamentally honest. And when people pay, our default is that they cannot pay. Having said that, we'll try and help them by rescheduling their loans. We do report loans to the credit bureaus because that is a financially appropriate thing to do.
Yeah.
But then we just try and help them reschedule when necessary. We don't chase them because, for us, and we've seen this, where people over the years, we have people who are paying us back from 2016. They couldn't pay then, but life has changed, right? Maybe life has gotten better. There are those who are mischievous, and maybe they took a X thousand naira loan. Now they're going to a different bank and want to take 10X, and the bank is saying, but we see that you owe carbon from 5 years ago, so they're coming back to pay. So we think the system works. If all fintechs and banks report both good and bad credit to the credit bureaus, the system works. What we have is people only report their bad debtors because they don't want to report their good debtors because they don't want me to see that, this is a good borrower, let me lend money to him. So the system works in place. There's no need for all the, blackmail, etc.
So help me make sense of credit in a very cash-dominated society, and what are default rates like?
So, I can speak to our book. Over the years, we've had about a 10% write-off, which means for every 10 people that apply for a loan, one will not pay back, right? On average, and that's been consistent over time. You can bring that number lower if you're more stringent, but it's a question of your risk assessment. And I think that is probably consistent with the rest of the retail industry. If you look at the bank's retail books, so their consumer lending books, you'll probably find that we're actually better than them. They might resist this, and we are very aggressive in making sure our books are right. And we've been audited by KPMG right from day one, from 10 years, because even though they're relatively expensive, we wanted to engender trust with our customers. We're the first to actually have publish our account. We're the first to have a credit rating by credit rating agency GCR. As long as we're in a fantastic opportunity right now. There's lots of fintechs coming in. Yeah. I think what we need is just a level playing field, and the trust of the people at the table.
All right. Off the back of Rufai's question, I wanted to ask what your challenges were. But then I also want to know, talk about the latest addition to your line of offerings, the Carbon Zero,
right?
For example, what is it all about?
So Carbon Zero is a product that falls under the buy now, pay later scheme. And what that means is that it allows you to buy anything, shop anywhere, using your carbon debit card, everywhere in Nigeria. So as an example, if you want to buy a MacBook Pro right now, you could go to Carbon and get that financed for 6 months at 0% interest. Which means that if you can't afford the full package right now, it could be a travel, a ticket. The ticket prices are going up. You can actually pay 25% down now, and at 0% spread the payments. Why are we so generous? It's because our partner merchants actually pay us a commission, and we use that commission to basically offset the interest that we'll normally have charged the customer.
So it has to be from a certain merchant?
It has to be from certain merchants, yes. But we also have a product within the app. So if you were to go for dinner tomorrow, 20,000 naira, and you only have 5,000 naira, you could literally from within the app say, this next debit card purchase, I want to spread payments. We'll charge you a fee, 500 naira, 1,000 naira, but you'll be able to then spread that 20,000 naira payment over 3 months for a small fee at 0% interest. It's the first time it's been done. One thing about Carbon is that we have a culture of innovation. We're the first to do digital loans. We're the first to provide all our customers free credit reports. This is going to change the payment behavior of Nigerians because ultimately what customers want is a convenient payment platform, the cheapest financing possible, and 0% interest. So
take for instance, I'm a trader and I travel and I want to do transactions with the Carbon card.
Right.
How's Carbon be able to crack that base minimum balance for transactions on certain cards for dollar and things like that? Let's. look at that conversation?
We have a microfinance bank license. We're not allowed to
Oh,
touch those.
okay.
So CBN is watching, please. We're not amongst.
Okay, I mean, it's good. So this is a microfinance bank.
Correct.
So it doesn't do all the big things, like that, as it is to with the loans. So it's a microfinance bank license you've got.
It is, yes. It is. Okay. So we can do everything but dollar transactions. We lend money to SMEs as well. So again, half of our customers are SMEs, and so a lot of our lending is for productive use. Whether it's working capital, extend my store, etc.
Okay.
So what are the key challenges that you faced? I asked that earlier, and in spite of that, are you still profitable?
So, key challenges first of all. Okay. I think it's trust. Whether we like it or not, this is still a relatively new innovation, and so when we first started out, lending, most people would say, "No, I don't borrow. I'm responsible." So there's that stigma of credit, which is changing. I think trust is an issue, and I think the challenge of bad actors, right, which you talked about earlier, also can smear everybody. So that's a problem. But I think regulation can help with that. But that really is it. It's just getting people comfortable with this bank that you can't touch and feel like you would any legacy bank, to actually trust them with your money. But over time, we're seeing that, I think for most people now, if you want a loan, you will go to a digital bank. We think that in the next 5 years, if you want an account, you will open a digital bank account.
So what's the next 10 years going to be like for you? Congrats on your first 10 years.
Thank you.
And secondly, I'd like to ask, how would people feel that level of customer service like they would normally want to have? What are the channels and things like that?
I think the next 10 years will be the same as the last, which is a focus on customer innovation, products that give the customers value at a low cost. And how we do that, we'll just through innovation. I think, the big challenge for all of us is customer service. And it's, payment pipes are broken different times. We want to make sure that we have a 24/7 approach to customers. In a country like Nigeria, where people are battered down, customers want to feel dignity. And that's what we're going to give them. So that, you have a problem, at least Carbon will be that entity that really respects you, your time, your patronage. And I think that's what most of us are not doing.
All right, our last 5 seconds. Sure. Any role for government in all this to make the space safer and, better?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, recently the FCCPC was formed to protect against things like loan sharks. That's a good, we think cheap loans for people like microfinance banks to allow us reduce the cost of borrowing to customers. And then lastly, I think some regulatory sandbox so that we can try new products like dollar transactions, in a safe way.
All right, Mr. Ngozi Dozie, we want to thank you for joining us on the morning show today. That's about all that we're able to take, but thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.